Let's begin in silence in a contemplative approach before we begin the techniques. We call to mind the definitions that we are given by the Tibetan master in relation to the techniques that we are integrating. In recognition that each of us are in different places in relation to our individual use of the techniques, we acknowledge as we move forward to today and further into Scorpio that humanity is standing on a threshold. And we, as members of the human family, are conscious ever of the dweller on the threshold, always present, swinging into activity on the path of discipleship. We become occultly aware of ourselves and our fellow travelers, our companions on the way, and of the conditions induced within us as a result of our interior illusion, our astral glamour, and the Maya surrounding our entire life. In family, community, our nations, and the world. We act as integrated personalities. We see the mental, astral, and physical etheric bodies as a whole. And we acknowledge that dweller on the threshold. This vitalized thought form, embodying mental force, astral force, and vital energy. And we work together as a group to begin to understand the technique of the presence. Remembering that many of us are still working in illusion, misinterpreted and misapplied mental perception of truth. Yet it has not to do with the mental phase of glamour, which we see around us, the illusions in humanity that are carried down into the world of feeling and then become glamour. We see the potency that is exceedingly great in the thought forms that have been developed, that become an entity with vital power. And we see around us the magnetic power of feeling that is added to these cold forms of thought. Let us ponder briefly on how we see this in the world around us today, impacting our dweller on the threshold. We attempt to, as a group, develop the intuition and dispel our individual illusions. And we recognize that a great opportunity is being presented to us using Raja Yoga, the yoga of the mind. Through this system, it will eventually allow us to achieve that state of isolated unity and take the initiation that allows us to transcend and become united with the angel of the presence and eventually move beyond to life as one on the Buddhic plane. Master Dwalkul reminds us that a death blow must be struck at the world illusion, for it holds us in thrall. By learning to break through the glamour in our own lives and to live in the light of the intuition, as disciples, we can strengthen the hands of those whose task it is to awaken the intuition in humanity. There are many different kinds of glamour, and disciples are frequently surprised when we learn as individuals and as groups what is regarded as glamour by the masters. So we are gradually and slowly moving from Libra, where the light leads to rest, to Scorpio, where the battle is on. And as our progress is made recurrently and cyclically around the wheel of life, these experiences and vibratory activities, and we, every time we meet, are engaged in these vibratory activities to intensify in character, build our character until the time comes when the reversal of the wheel takes place. Then living in active soul life through the medium of the personality nature and not simply on the personality plane. We have registered that, recorded it, and noted it in Virgo. And we have attempted to balance and assess that active soul life through the medium of the personality in Libra, eventually now bringing us to the tests and trials of Scorpio. We are ready for the lessons that we are to learn. Just as in the past, the instrument and its relation to the outer world has been the paramount fact in the experience of the spiritual man and woman, so now it is possible for a readjustment to take place, wherein the outstanding fact will be, for all, the solar angel or soul. It will also be realized that our relationship from the form side will be to the inner as well as to the outer worlds. We will no longer be dominated by it. We will alleviate the suffering that has occurred, and consequently, in time, will allow others to revolt from all that pertains to the material world. In this process, we may experience dissatisfaction. We may experience disgust at that which we see around us. We may experience distaste and a deep fatigue. And we have all experienced those qualities on the verge of discipleship. But we take DK's words and we know that we are seeking to learn a new rhythm. We are entering a new field of experience. And we are following the steps of advanced humanity, all those who've trodden ahead of us on the path. We are on the path, moving to the light. We are in the unreal, moving to the real. We have tasted the joys of life in the world of illusion, and we are learning that powerlessness, those can no longer hold us. We are in a state of transition. We are vibrating with the condition of our soul awareness and form awareness. We are seeing double. Slowly but surely, our spiritual perception is being transmitted into the brain consciousness. We are becoming capable of illumination from the soul via the mind. Our intuition, the group soul, is developing. Our radius of awareness grows. Every time we meet in group formation, meditating as soul together, the new fields of knowledge unfold. Let us together sound the protective mantra, the protective formula. As a soul, I work in light, and darkness cannot touch me. I take my stand within the light. I work, and from that point, I never move. Before we begin, let us align as soul and as a group and see our group approaching Master Dwal Kul's study, the field of knowledge on that higher plane that allows us to move into higher knowledge, into the abstract mind. We're going to slowly and deliberately contemplate the meaning of the fourth step that we have been given in relation to the technique of the presence. and then proceed to a process to integrate the techniques. Definite and sustained effort to sense the presence throughout the universe in all forms and in all presentations of truth. This could be expressed in the words, the effort to isolate the germ or seed of divinity which has brought all forms into being. This is not the attainment of a loving attitude and a sentimental approach to all people and circumstances. That is the mystical way, and though not intended to be negated in the disciple's life, it is not used at this time in the process of effective approach. It is the effort primarily to see in the light which the angel radiates the point of light behind all phenomenal appearances. It is therefore the transference of the mystical vision to the higher levels of awareness. It is not the vision of the soul, but the vision of the spiritual sensing of that which the light of the soul can aid in revealing. So though we use invocative images to evoke vision through the creative imagination, we recognize that in approaching and using the technique of the presence, we are transferring off of the mystical vision and those evocative images to higher levels of awareness. A spiritual sensing of that which the light of the soul can aid in revealing. It is called knowing and sensing in the Buddhist tradition, the radical interdependence of all phenomena, and insight into the mutual belonging of everything. The flickering soul light in the personal self has enabled the disciple to see the vision of the soul, and in that light to reach union with the soul, even if only temporarily. Now the greater light of the soul becomes focused like a radiant sun, and it reveals in its turn a still more stupendous vision, that of the presence, of which the angel is the guarantee and promise. As the light of the moon is the guarantee that the light of the sun exists, So the light of the sun is the guarantee of a still greater light. The first field of knowledge receiving illumination might be described as comprising the totality of forms to be found in the three worlds of human endeavor: etheric, astral, and mental. The would-be disciple, through this process, becomes aware of the lower nature and begins to realize the extent of the imprisonment and the modifications of the versatile psychic nature, the hindrances to achievement and the obstacles to progress are revealed through Raja Yoga, and the problem becomes specific. Frequently, then, we reach the position in which Arjuna found himself, confronted by enemies who are those of our own household. We become confused as to our duty and discouraged as we seek to balance ourselves between the pairs of opposites. Our time in Libra. We're told that our prayers should become the Gayatri, uttered by the heart, comprehended by the head, and supplemented by the ardent life of service to humanity. So, lifting to the point of soul focus and uniting on the plane of soul with all disciples and aspirants aspiring to utilize the technique of the presence, we sound the Gayatri. O thou who hast revealed all, unveil to us the face of the true spiritual sun, hidden by a disk of golden light, that we may know the truth and do our whole duty as we journey to thy sacred feet. We acknowledge the need and the qualities that we can achieve utilizing the technique of indifference that leads us to true impersonality in all that we seek to do, and that brings us together as a group as we rise together on the light of the soul to begin to penetrate divine indifference. As aspirants and disciples, we practice the technique of a light to remove the hindrances and obstacles that are ever present as we move to the next stage. And we work to dissipate group glamours in all of our service work. We move toward Scorpio, the great constellation which influences the turning point both in the life of humanity and the life of the individual human being. We prepare to assist humanity as humanity continues in the battle of the dweller on the threshold and the angel of the presence. For the first time in history, mankind and disciples can access the energy of Sirius, pouring into the 7 groups which form our planetary hierarchy, invoking a response. So we turn our focus to the ashrams, those points of quiet confidence and regulated effort. And we seek to align with the ashrams as we prepare for the integration of the 3 techniques in Scorpio. We'll look briefly at the qualities that can be brought forth if that alignment is held with the ashrams as one great ashram, the ashram of the Christ. Strength, courage, steadfastness, truthfulness arising from absolute fearlessness, the power of ruling, the ruling of the Christ and the Christ consciousness, the capacity for large-mindedness, calm, serene temper, patience, endurance, the strength of love wisdom, the strength of Shambhala through the Christ, love of truth, faithfulness, intuition, clear intelligence. The qualities of the 3rd ray ashram of Master R. Wide views on all abstract questions, sincerity of purpose, clear intellect, capacity for concentration on philosophic studies, patience, caution, absence of the tendency to worry about trifles. And now the attributes of that great ashram of the Christ. Through the 4th ray, strong affections, sympathy, physical courage, generosity, devotion, quickness of intellect and perception. Through the 5th ray and Master Hilarian's ashram, the attributes of strictly accurate statements, justice without mercy, perseverance, common sense, keen intellect, uprightness, and independence. Through Master Jesus and his ashram, the attributes of devotion, single-mindedness, love, tenderness, intuition, loyalty, and reverence. And through the unknown or unnamed Master, strength, perseverance, self-reliance, courage, courtesy, extreme care in details. Lifting again our attention to the great ashram, the one ashram of the Christ, and drawing down through the soul life of our groups into the activities of the new group of world servers. We radiate these qualities as virtues in soul consciousness. Through the means of the technique of the light, the illumined mind assumes control over the astral or emotional body and dissipates glamour. one of the rules of thought to control the astral body and the thoughts of the astral plane through the applied power of transformation. Through our work, we begin to touch that spark that allows for the higher vision that comes through use of the technique of the presence. True illumination beyond the evocative images and the vision of the soul. We are given glimpses. And that is the intuitive impress, the true illumined impress that comes in the use of the technique of the presence. The world can be transformed, our nations transformed, and the groups with which we are working transformed. Using the creative imagination in new ways with that spark of intuition. By means of the technique of indifference, we can use inspiration as the applied power of transmission. And in our work, through our example, through those energies that funnel through our groups, we can free the energies of the etheric body from the control of matter or force substance. And we use a purified astral vehicle, consciously and technically brought into activity to then radiate that astral field, to bring men and women everywhere in large numbers onto the probationary path. We are inspired as transmitting agents of the soul. The groups with which we work and are affiliated through this technique become transmitting radiance of the soul. The nations become transformed as cooperative entities, working together in regions as international groups. Only through this technique of indifference and the technique of light can we truly bring this transformation that the world can evolve in alignment with the plan as the hierarchy is externalized. Divine indifference. Let us aspire and be inspired to reach that point together and in communion with all of our groups. That energy follows thought concerning the heart center. Having achieved expression of the law of sacrifice involving the astral plane and achieving divine indifference, or the level of indifference required. We use energy following thought concerning the heart center. That point, the advancing point of light that allows us and opens that spark that the monad can reach us, the monadic energy. And that spark from the monad and the planetary logos through the heart centers, the heart center of the planet hierarchy, to the spiritual eye of humanity, the new group of world servers. Using the mental plane. Yet, as DK tells us, none of these stages or use of energy following thought is divided off from the other by clear lines of demarcation and do not follow each other in a clear sequence as the Ajna Center, the new group of world servers, which we're calling the One World Serving Group. As that Ajna Center opens and eventually merges with the Crown Center, these stages are part of the work of humanity now to bring the dweller on the threshold into alignment and have the angel of the presence penetrate down and through. So in using this technique of the presence, the soul of humanity will assume control of the integrated personality of humanity. And we in our work allow our group soul to assume control of the integrated personality of our group and of all its relations, horizontal and vertical. As a soul, we work in light, and darkness cannot touch us. We take our stand within the light. We work, and from that point, we never move. Horizontal plane and vertical plane of the cross of divinity. This technique involves the unfolding of the flower of the intuition, the dispelling of illusion, the revealing of the angel, the indicating of the presence, which is beyond the angel, and opening up to us as disciples the world of ideas and the door of the higher initiations. Then, through our grasp and application of these divine ideas or seed thoughts, we become an initiate, and the third initiation becomes possible. We learn that the intuition is the applied power of transfiguration. Many are using the practice of Agni Yoga as they move from the second to the third initiation. And we know that group intuition is what dispels world illusion. We've read this in the past. So draw the energies that we receive through the words of Master Dwal Kul, through the study and practice of Raja Yoga, through the insights and the awareness that is built through the practice of Agni Yoga, and achieve the highest level of impersonality as an integrated personality. And again, see the soul light penetrating, uniting brain, mind, the light of matter and the light of mind, and then uniting as soul light. Bringing that soul light into a great light within your being. And with the light of the soul leading and guiding, see the light of the group as one great light emanating from the heart of the group, and aligning with the heart of the new group of world servers. And the triangle of the heart, the mind, and the ajna center of the new group of world servers. And we imagine all of those servers in incarnation and those beyond the veil, uniting as one great light, growing in radiance and potency, linking us to the one ashram, which is all ashrams. And the light of the world called the Lord Maitreya, the Christ, Vishnu, by all the names. That is the light we seek. That is the light that allows us to attain true impersonality. And to integrate as a group, as we integrate the three techniques. Now, having established that connection, knowing that we can return to that point at any time. We will now anchor that light, that alignment, using the mantra of the new group of world servers. May the power of the one life pour through the group of all true servers. May the love of the one soul characterize the lives of all who seek to aid the great ones. May we fulfill our part in the one work through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. From that point, bring the energy down through the triangles that you know and work with in group formation into our group, and now into your own being. And create an anchor for yourself. A word, an image, a touch to your forehead or to your chest, a touch to your throat, whatever anchors this stream into your being, that brings those qualities instantaneously available at any point of your recognition. I recognize my pledged discipleship. I recognize the soul, the source of love wisdom. I recognize my achieved alignment. I recognize the hierarchy. In every moment, in every act, in every place that I appear, I bring soul consciousness, and I allow the spark of the presence to be present in my life. I am one with my group brothers and sisters, and all that I have is theirs. May the love of the one soul pour forth to all. May the energy of the one soul lift and aid all. May the thoughts that the soul creates reach and encourage all. May the energy of the divine self be spread abroad in our hearts, through our groups, and throughout the world.